Ayers.
Announcing everyone, let's go for a virtual clap. Let's go. Virtual clap. Let's go. It's a big day. Let's clap. I don't see you clapping. I can see it. Nobody can cheat. Exactly. Then we open our book club. I am humbly, I feel good. I feel humbled to serve as your mistress of ceremony today, and we're gonna go straight to it. Today we have two wonderful co-authors, and we will start with Renee Villanova. She talks to us about fostering healthy communities because she loves traveling. She travels around the world, has been to over 50 countries in the US and internationally. Then she's very strong when it comes to different cultures, and she feels that she's gonna walk us through her experience and enter our life as well. So this is something she knows. This is something she enjoys. Wherever you are, I give you Renee Villanova.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fleur.
For the day.
Thank you, Dr. Fleur.
You have the mic.
Thank you. Well, I'm honored to be kicking off the first week. This is awesome. I'm so happy that we're able to gather this way in a time when we're not doing a lot of gatherings. So this is great. It's a great cause. It's a great book, and I'm happy to be a part of it. You know, Pat Sampson started this with a vision. So I think probably the best way to start off our gathering is with some of her words, and I'll read those to you now. The power of storytelling. This is the moment to shine the light on the hopes, dreams, and positive visions of our personal and collective life experiences. How? Stories. Storytelling is at heart how we communicate. Love is the guiding force. We are all one, connected to each other in a very deep and powerful way. Together, let's celebrate America's leading ladies, incredible, strong women, many of whom are universally recognized, women who inspire us all, who followed their passion and with drive, dedication, discipline, and persistence, set out to do something they love and reach the top pillars of success in their personal and professional lives. Let love in. Let these ladies remind us of how much goodness there is in this world. Connect with who you truly are, people who make you feel deeply. Learn how these role models became positive influencers in a world that needs voices of strong women to be heard. By opening hearts and minds and sharing experiences, they contribute greatly to our sense of connection. They encourage us to aim high, speak our heart's truth, and release self-imposed limitations on what we think we could do or become. That's what great stories do. To love what you do and feel that it matters breeds optimism and feelings of well-being. Brush off the dust of doubt. There's a big, wonderful world out there. Each one of us has a role to play to make the world more caring and compassionate. That transcends you and me, us and them. In that light, we added stories of awesome leading ladies from Canada, Iran, Mexico, India, and the United Kingdom. All have great stories to tell, and that's something to be thankful for, especially in these moments of great unrest. To shine a spotlight as a beacon of hope on the journeys of strong, passionate, and compassionate women who make this world a better place. So those are Pat's words. Before I move on to mine, of course, a lot has changed in our communities since my chapter was written. And the message means a little more to me now, I think, than it did even then. Our unprecedented experiences of 2020 have certainly changed our communities in ways we would have never imagined. It might be fair to say some communities have become stronger. Neighbors have been getting to know each other, checking in on one another, bringing supplies, and sharing messages of encouragement. In a time when we've been forced to remain distant, we found creative ways to share togetherness and create new communities while supporting those we're already a part of. This book club is a perfect example of exactly that. Just this week, recent events have also demonstrated for us how weak other areas of our community have become. We would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that. So as we slowly begin to cautiously step out of our homes and back into our communities, there's never been a better time for us to ask ourselves, what kind of community do we want? What am I willing to do to strengthen my community? The reality is those answers are different for each of us. The best part is we all benefit from the actions of others. My chapter is called Fostering Healthy Communities. In the words of Jane Goodall, what you do makes a difference. You have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Having traveled all over the US and to over 40 countries, I've learned firsthand how much communities differ. We establish communities in various areas of our lives. Our professional community may differ greatly from our social or neighborly community, yet the importance of their life to our life directly correlates to the roles we play in them. One of my goals is to positively contribute to my communities. Travelers have the privilege of temporary membership in many communities. Some depend on the revenues brought by tourism. It's crucial to have social consciousness when traveling. At Global Wanderlust, we do exactly that. Our events incorporate community service activities and source local suppliers and organizations, often positioning our budgets as mutual beneficiaries. Travelers appreciate the thought put into local, often handmade treasures that they're gifted. We often organize hands-on events, leaving a wake of gifts, food, toys, bikes, or other useful items behind. Partnering with local organizations for the local placement of these items helps serve their communities. These efforts introduce travelers to local causes, emphasizing their impact. While on location, we prioritize limiting waste, recycling, and buying sustainable. We limit our single-use items, favoring washable or compostable dishware and flatware to disposable. We remain cognizant of environmental sensitivities and humanitarian concerns in every destination. Live your values. In 2015, I invested in my first rental property, a beach house in Puerto Rico, having no idea what this community had in store for me. A few years later, Hurricane Maria put my sourcing and organizational skills to the test. I had to help. Failure was not an option. I immediately took to social media to organize donation drives for emergency rescue items, necessities, clothing, and food for victims. Generosity and compassion prevailed. The bigger challenge was the logistics of arranging transport for the items gathered all in my home in Grapevine. Another motivating success. All items were delivered, some in volunteer suitcases, mailed via USPS directly to needy homes, flown in on cargo as commercial aircraft were donated, and private jets also donated. Our donations were placed directly in the hands of those in need, many times expedited to their doorstep, avoiding the red tape so many organizations faced. With the help of an online booking tool, I had the opportunity to provide housing accommodations to hardworking volunteers. These people left their safe, comfortable communities, mostly on the mainland, to aid and care for those in need. For the next 4 months, volunteers and recovery teams rotated through my house with no or limited water and power. They were working tirelessly on rescue and recovery efforts. Together, they rebuilt homes, delivered life-saving supplies, and rescued pets and livestock, while I helped with fundraising and gathering essential donations. Many of those amazing people remain on the island, while others are now working in other areas of need. Many volunteers established tremendous bonds through their shared compassion. Surround yourself with good people doing good things. In December of 2017, I left my home in Texas to join those in Puerto Rico to assist with a hands-on, door-to-door neighborhood assessment effort. Our teams entered neighborhoods in need to determine how better the private sector could support families. We brought solar lights, small cash donations, baked goods, and some holiday cheer to families living without power and, in many cases, very limited resources. This effort was coupled with a private, nationally supported toy drive for the children of Rincon, a mountainous western coastal town. It was successful. It was a combined effort pioneered by one generous local man and orchestrated by teams of islanders and mainlanders, neighbors and strangers working together and delivering relief and toys, and some not even speaking the same language. I will always remember the faces of the families we touched, the warmth we were greeted with by those going through so much. I entered these projects hoping to make a positive change for others, having no idea the positive change they would make in me. I quickly learned jumping in headfirst is the best way to sharpen your skills. The successes of the post-Maria efforts motivated me to increase my involvement. Supporting the nutritionally insecure, the environment, veterans, first responders, and various other causes are now part of my life's routine. Through my business, we often include an opportunity to do something special for a cause important to the group's affiliations. We challenge ourselves to stay creative and deliver uniquely fulfilling experiences, often using small opportunities to educate and connect. People are the most important part of every event. Great consideration is given to those attending, as well as those impacted by our travel footprints. Foster healthy communities. Many of us have a desire to do more. No excuses. Find a way to make your mark. Surround yourself with good people doing good things. I am fortunate. I meet amazing people doing fantastic work all over the world. I try to follow their lead and live by example. Where you can start? Check with local food banks, animal shelters, or retirement homes. Many welcome volunteers. Booking travel? Ask your hotel about their initiatives. They often have opportunities for guest involvement. Plan family activities with enlightening moments. Help educate future generations to care enough about their communities to contribute. We all have a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of our diverse communities. The efforts put forward today make for a better tomorrow. And that's the end of my chapter. So I think at this point, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or if anyone wanted to address any of the things that I mentioned in my chapter, I'm happy to do that.
I would like everyone on the call to really share some comments regarding our author, Renee Villanova. This is the time for you to really connect with her. I think, first of all, I want to commend you for your resiliency, for accepting the challenge to be our first presenter. I want to thank you for connecting with me. I did study in Puerto Rico and San Germán, in La Interamericana. Then,
fantastic, I did not know that.
No, in life, you never know until you read and connect. Then today is precious. That's where I went for my undergrad. Then Puerto Rico became an adoptive country. And listening to you and sharing how you need to surround yourself with people and live your values. Then we just welcome also Cordelia, who joined us. Tara, we're waving at you. Now, ladies, it's time for you you can chat your questions, you can share your comments. We have 7 minutes to do so before we go to our second author, and we can even go to 10 minutes because Jonko, it's good to see you. Okay, now, ladies, let's connect with our author, Renee Villanova. Don't be shy because you will not have time to travel to Puerto Rico. This is your time now. Cordelia, you want
to go with
first?
you if you do decide to travel.
Okay. The way you will do it, you can just chat and for the question, and or raise your hands, and I'll give you. And with Lale, we'll give you the mic.
Well, thank you, Dr. Floor. I didn't realize you had studied there, so you probably know exactly where I'm talking about when I mentioned this region that we worked in.
5 years in San Germán.
That's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah. Cordelia, any comment for our author? You mute.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just saying, hello, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late. I actually don't have any questions, but I mean, since I came in late, I would like to know a little bit more about your community work and how we can implement something in our own communities.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of times there's so much going on in your community that you may not even be aware of, that may be directly correlating to any thoughts or ideas you may have. And I know, Cordelia, you have children. I often talk to people and they say, you know, I'd really like to engage my children in something, but I don't know where to begin. And so many larger organizations don't allow you to bring children when you volunteer because of the liability, of course. So one that I recommend often, there's actually two, but the first one that I recommend most often is any kind of food bank that's affiliated with the Feeding America program. Here in my area, it's the North Texas Food Bank or the Tarrant County Food Bank in the North Texas area. They both serve our local community, but they also allow children. And I want to say each facility is different. Ours, I believe, starts at age 8. I've heard of others facilities starting at age 6. And obviously with a parent or a guardian at that time, but they actually allow the kids to be hands-on. And I volunteer there often, and I can't tell you how impactful it is to see the children put it together. You know, they're not quite sure what they're doing when they get there. They're doing what mom told them to do maybe, but once they start hearing the stories and understanding that all of this peanut butter or all of these cookies or whatever it is you're working on that day is actually going to someone who may not have them already and who struggles with nutrition and finding a meal, it really registers with children, and you can see the light bulb turn on and you see their compassion just start to pour right out. And their sense of pride is really amazing. So I definitely encourage families to do something that they can. Another is Feeding Children Everywhere. They do programs both locally and abroad, and they can bring the program to you. So it's something that you can do, excuse me, you can do it with your church, with your school, with your Girl Scouts, your Boy Scouts, your neighborhood, your family, your friends, whomever. You contact them, they bring it to you, they set everything up. It's quite simple. And again, it's to make sure that people have food in areas where they don't. So something to think about where you don't have to really be too creative and you do not have to do all the footwork of putting something together. You can just reach out to something that's pre-existing and have a huge impact. Animal shelters, retirement homes, nursing homes, a lot of those places welcome volunteers from the outside community. Not always with children, of course, depending on the situation, but definitely something to think about that does not take a lot of effort on your part other than finding what organization speaks to you and what you can do for them. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to have a lot of money to do it. Just carve out some of your time and invite friends. My friends know me already. They may get a call to go to happy hour, but they may also get a call to come and work at the food bank or make sandwiches or do any various number of things. It's and we always have a good time. It's a great way to spend time with friends. You know, at first I think they thought I was crazy and now they never know what to expect, but they welcome it. So I encourage you to consider the same.
Very good, very good. Now, Janila, you have the mic. You have a burning question regarding sustainability. Our author is ready to listen to you.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, Renee, about like community work and how you sustain it. Because sometimes, you know, like with the funds and everything, I don't know, like if you can share something about that. Thank you.
Honestly, the funds are one of the most challenging parts of all of this. And people are a bit hesitant with their funds. You've heard so many stories about organizations misspending money or being irresponsible with donations. So I can understand the trepidation that people have when it comes to giving financially, which is one of the reasons I encourage people to give of your time and your energy. As far as sustaining that, it is very difficult. There are some smaller organizations popping up that literally are focused on helping other organizations raise money. One of them in particular that that I really appreciate and enjoy is called Give Some. It's one word, Give Some. But they are an app and also developing, if it's not out yet, a web application that's strictly for internet, so you can make donations differently. A lot of people are hesitant about putting credit cards into an app, and I get that. But they're designed kind of for the smaller scale fundraising projects. So I encourage you maybe to take a look at what they're doing, but it could be something that you develop that's personal to you. Maybe you want to build a school in a community you visited once and you know more or less what that amount's going to be. You set a goal, they work with you to reach that goal, and they make it available to all of the people that they work with. And you can donate as little as $2 or $3. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. and you actually get to see the progress. In the end, when the goal has been met, they actually share with you via video what happened. So how the school looks, or the building of the school. And they do large and small projects. They help sick children in different countries get medical care. They contribute food. They build whatever project you bring to them and have a budget for. You know, there are some rules in place, but they do a short video and they say, this is what you want to do. This is one of the many causes you can donate to, and they'll help you actually raise the funds. They're not involved with the actual project. They're just involved with helping bring funds to your project and bring exposure. And they do that on a corporate level, on a personal level, for small charities, large organizations. It doesn't really matter, but it is a great way to get some money and some exposure for smaller projects that you may not be able to do fundraising on a grand scale for.
Lencia?
Yes. So my question to you, Renee, was, are you still in touch with the communities that you helped in Puerto Rico? Can you talk about that?
I am. I do visit. I'm in touch with some of the individuals who are part of the projects. I'm not in touch with the individual homeowners and families that we visited. I have not gone back driving through those streets. I had never been through many of the streets that we drove through on those efforts. So it was a new community to me. I'm actually a little bit further east, but this project went on along the West Coast, and a lot of those communities took a very long time to recover. And in some cases, some of those families have very limited means and are still in very much a recovery mode as far as the repairs on their homes and things like that. But I do drive through those areas, and I do know the people that are still there. And they actually talk about, you know, is this something that we're prepared to do again? And would we be more organized next time? Because last time it was all very spontaneous and unplanned. We threw it together and we pulled it off. But now we've learned some lessons and taken some notes, and they're prepared to step in again should it ever be needed in a similar disaster. And probably sooner. You know, the hurricane was in September, and most of our efforts really started in December, because that's when the roads were clear and the power was back in a lot of places, not all, but a lot. So they talk about, you know, what would the reaction time be next time if we needed to step in and help sooner. So yeah, so I am in touch with some of them, and many of the efforts are ongoing. A lot of the school rebuildings and the community rebuildings, there's a lot of veterans who are still having their homes built by volunteers, primarily roofing and things like that, because there was a shortage of supplies on the island for quite some time. It took a while for the supplies to be able to get there in volume. And obviously those who could afford to pay for it got them first. So those who were struggling took longer to get their supplies and also to get the labor to help them rebuild their homes. So it's still an ongoing process.
We have time for two more comments. We'll go with you. I see Brian. I don't know who's Brian, but you know, with our children using our computers, you know, that can be. Whoever is Brian, the author's ready for you to listen.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Brian, welcome,
Yes, we hear you.
welcome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's
You see why we happy you are the man among all of us. Yes, Brian. Thank you for bringing the light.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be surrounded by such wonderful women.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask Renee, like, what would you say is one of your most rewarding accomplishments, especially, you know, maybe before you, you know, found your success, maybe on your road to, you know, gaining to the point that you came to today? Like
My
something that's
most
been really,
rewarding success.
well, like inspiration, like what's been some of your inspiration that got you to where you are today, I think is what I'm asking.
You know, probably just people I've encountered along the way, I think. You know, I've started traveling at a pretty young age. So I think I was still finding myself in the ways of the world and all of those fun things that, you know, youth brings you. And I was, of course, 6 feet tall and bulletproof. So I found myself trying all kinds of things, living in places and moving around the country and all of that. So I think just people I've encountered along the way kind of turned on the light bulb for me, like, hey, this is really cool. This is something that feels good. And, you know, I think also, you know, growing up with a single mom and just 2 kids and, you know, struggling through that, as many families do, I think I really just kind of learned from that, that there were always people there to lend a hand when we needed it. And sometimes you want to be that helping hand to somebody else, kind of give it back, pay it forward, one of those things. So I think just at a young age, I was exposed to that. And then as I entered into my, young adulthood, I saw a lot of that as I traveled and in different places. So I think that probably together, as I put the pieces of life together as you get older, I think you just kind of decide that it's important enough for me to carry on that and to try to give it back. So.
And that wrap up our first author, and please clap for her one more time. Okay.
You're very
Then
kind.
protocol
Thank you,
requires
Dr.
that I turn over to our producer, Lele. Any comments, any technicality before we move to our second co-author, please?
You guys have been amazing, and you guys have the chat, and we have Dr. Flora here, so if you guys have any questions along the way. But no, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I think the one thing we didn't ever mention when we kicked it off, that this is the book club for America's leading ladies. Because we're so leading so quickly that we forget the name of the title of this book. And as Renee read, I mean, just we're so grateful that as 50 women around the US really bringing our stories to the world together, and the unity and the oneness that truly is part of this book, and how futurist Pat Sampson was to have this book launch in 2019 before we had the COVID-19. And we really looked at this book as not as just a book club that we're bringing some of the authors, obviously not all the authors could make it, but really have it be a place of, truly oneness and us being there for each other and guiding each other through our stories, but also the inspiration that we could each be for each other. And at the world that seems to be separating, we're actually uniting and bringing so many people. I mean, I love my different team that is here. We have, different countries. We have Japan, Russia, we have Serbia. We have so many countries, including the US, that are part of coming together today. And so I just wanted to thank everyone for being here, whether you're watching live or watching in the future.
With that being said, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our second co-author. Her name is Lancia Sung. She shares her thoughts on the therapeutic gift of art. Observe in our interaction with nature and in our relationships with ourselves and those we encounter. As an artist, and taught her deep spiritual connection with our Creator, she is able to draw parallels between the natural and the sublime, and brings in this into every relationship, professional and personal. Lancia, take us away with your brush.
Can you see me?
We can see you. We can hear you well.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Flor, for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Welcome, ladies. Delighted to have you join us. The chapter I will be reading focuses on the therapeutic resonance of art, experienced in different forms. Art, a gift that refreshes the soul. What makes art therapeutic? Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. Pablo Picasso. How does one find inspiration in the mundane activities of life? How do you find your way amidst the fragments of dreams and desires? These are questions each of us thinks about as we navigate our space in the world. Here are some ways we are able to recognize the therapeutic resonance of art. When we lift our eyes to heaven, or we find inspiration in nature that is never hurried, but harrowed in season. When we find moments of wonder in a sunset or sunrise, painted by the greatest artist who lives eternally. We remember that we are his creation made in his likeness. When we are given opportunities to look at those we encounter, even in the brief moments of our life, through the eyes of our Maker, we realize that we are like walking pieces of art in all our varied hues. We are all artists on this planet, set free to paint our strokes on the hearts we meet at different stages in our lives. What we become rests on the strokes that lift us in the bleakest moments of our life. The lines that draw us and the lines that move us create the lines that shape us. Why is art a personal sanctuary? As an artist and designer of modern art, I'm often asked the question, what is the inspiration behind my art? I believe every artist goes through a metamorphosis of the soul at a deeper level than can be experienced at the moment of creation of a work of art. It has been birthed a million times over through our perceived or actualized imagination, through our relationship with people and things, and through the opening of hearts and minds to receiving that what we do not yet see. Some see meaning with intention before the brush dips into the palette. Others let it just be. Kathleen Dennis, a wonderful painter whose work I admire very much, once stated that she likes to think that God lets her hold the brush. The next time you start to draw or paint, know that you are always sharing that special part of you. My thought has been color your own lines and you'll color a rainbow. Think of the time you see a rainbow in the sky. How does it make you feel? Elated, joyful, filled with wonder? That is why art is personal. It's your experience. Why is art a legacy of motion and innovation? Artists are in motion, and their art is an extension of this ephemeral movement, communicating thoughts and emotions in the most lucid and sinuous form. World of Dance showcases this movement of art in motion. Fusion of lyrics and music, like in the song, What a Wonderful World, a remake of the original sung by Louis Armstrong, now created with a blend of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, originally sung by Judy Garland and sung by Israel, shows us that art is innovative and in motion. New ideas bursting through old opposites. The morphing and layering of voices, lyrics and notes in music create a harmony and expression of a myriad souls, expressing ethos of one within a congruence of many. You will experience this in your own life as you stand in the solitude of your gift, transient only to the growth of your being. Thank you so much. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Process is the same, open floor, open heart. Share your thoughts, share your comments. You can type your questions or raise your hands. I see Lale first. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's so beautiful listening to you read this. And I'm just curious, when it comes to art, I think there's so much our hearts are open to as children. And then sometimes as adults or the teenage years or something else, like we need to become more responsible. And I think some people lose that connection, the touch that they actually have with art. And I'm curious about you and like your journey with art. And was there a moment where, you know, it wasn't part of your life and then a story of what brought it back into your life? Or were there any moments where you just realized that art was your way of carrying that message of hope for you? So if maybe you could share a little bit more about art and what it means to you.
So, Lali, thank you so much for that. This may come as a surprise, but I found art in my life later in life, very late. I would say probably 10 years. But I always grew up knowing that I loved fashion and design. That was something that was very close to me because I grew up in a family. My mom was a designer, so I guess I got it from her. But I always appreciated beautiful things, and it's a joy, honor, and pleasure, I can say, to have found my path very late in life. But I am so grateful to God. And I used to like to write, so it just, and I see art more than just a physical piece that's on a wall or on a table. I see it how in our interactions with each other, how we are communicating. Like yesterday, when I was watching a video on Instagram, I mean, all the chaos, there was this cop who was trying to calm a young boy who was so broken through all the protests that were going on. And he hugged him and he says, I'm here with you, you know. So that is what I mean, that we are all painting our strokes on different hearts that we meet at different stages in our life. So I don't know if that answers it.
Oh my God, so beautifully shared. And for me, you know, I used to think I wasn't an artist because my sisters had more of the creative stroke, you know. Then I realized, just as the way you described it, art is in everything. And even when you talk about, you know, fashion design, or people can do interior design, whatever, they're all forms of actual art. And each of us, that's why I said, when we're children, art is in every part of our engagement with the world. And it's just so lovely to just hear how much more. You say you discovered it 10 years ago, but I would say you never let it go. You might have discovered a different kind of way of art maybe 10 years ago, but that smile you have just shows you've had it your whole life. And so thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Very good, Janila. You have the mic.
Can you say something about your creative process? I mean, something that you would like to share is not, yeah, thank you.
So this is another surprise, is creativity for me. I don't have a process because it all comes down straight through the Holy Spirit. And this is why I will be very honest that I could not work in a corporate environment, because I was asked to draw blueprints to show how it's presented. And I always struggled with that because it always came as a direct, I would sit down and then it would just come right through. So I'm sorry if that's not appropriate, but it just, I find it hard to explain it, because I remember my mom asking me the same thing. How did you do that? And I said, I don't know. And I always used to tell her, you know, it's through the Holy Spirit. And I'm okay not knowing. I'm okay with that.
You know, what you explain actually exists in Balinese culture is called taksu. And they believe if they practice any form of art, even driving a taxi, in a way that they're dedicated, this inspiration will come to them instantaneously. So it's very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elena, no comments? No questions? Tara? Okay. Brian, go ahead. You have to unmute, Brian.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfectly.
Oh,
Hi,
great.
Brian.
Hi. I really appreciate your story too, and very inspirational about artists. And I'm an artist myself, and I'm wondering if there's a certain piece that you've painted that has a special place for you, and or whoever you painted it for, and what was it of?
Yes, I do have one. It's called Wine and the Branch. And it's a very simple piece. I don't have it here, but it's my connection, and that's the piece that's my connection to Jesus. Because in scripture, Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, you will bear much fruit. And that has carried me through many difficult times in my life, to know that no matter what's going on around you, as long as you're connected to your Creator, you will always have, you will never be alone. And you will always have the wisdom that comes from above to guide you. And I have to remind myself many times in my everyday life to remember that piece of art that keeps you connected.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then we are having a wonderful virtual lunch. Today, we have two authors, Renee Villanova, who shared with us the essence of fostering healthy communities. We have a artist, Lencia Song. We still have some time, and it's only 12:42. We still have 7 minutes that we can continue connecting through art and travel. Then don't feel shy. Tara, you can share maybe one of the painting you've seen in the world, where you've seen it, and ask Lencia the impact that it has on you. You know, Cordelia, you know. Mary, we have not heard you. And I know you have a lot in store for us.
I was just going to say, oh, go ahead, Mary.
Mary.
You know, I'm on my phone. I just figured out how to unmute and put the video on. I'm so sorry. I've been sitting here the whole time enjoying, thinking, oh, I guess when I call in by phone, I'm just, you know, I'm just an icon on this screen. So I just.
Oh, no. We watch and we bring you to our art work. Go ahead.
So I also am an artist. In fact, I have all my paints out on the kitchen counters right now. I painted on Sunday. And I was wondering, Lancia, do you paint on a regular, or do your art on a regular basis, or are you all of a sudden inspired? Because I can go for months and all of a sudden I think, I have to paint today, and then I'll paint a picture in one day. I love it, but it's like I turn it off, or it turns off, and I just kind of wait till that next inspiration. So how do you do your creative work? Is it something that you do on a regular basis, or are you waiting to be inspired? How do you actually create your work?
Thank you so much for sharing that, Mary. I'm absolutely 100% with you. It's never, I'm just like you, can go for months without doing anything. And then I'll just sit down, and then a small portion. Sometimes it comes at all in one day. Sometimes it'll be just a portion of it, and I'll walk away, and I come back another few days later or months, and then it just comes together. So I'm completely with you on that.
Do you send out your, what I do is I take a picture of it, and then I send it to everybody I know, and then everybody sends back, oh, you should paint your brother and sister-in-law. Oh, you should paint your dog. Oh, you should paint. And I'm thinking, why did I do this? I just exposed myself to, all I want say, hey, look at my creative inspiration today. So now I find that the people that I send to, it's like, first it was all these people, then it was a selected group. Now I'm like sharing with a few people just to say, this is what I created, not, oh, would you paint my brother-in-law's, pork-bellied pig? No, I won't. So anyway, how do you share your creations with your friends or other people?
So I'm very private. This book club has just opened me up, and I'm so grateful to Pat that I get to meet and interact with all of you ladies. I have been very private, but it's coming out now more. So I don't share it until I don't know, I guess with just my family, my mom or my brothers and my cousins, because I have a very close-knit family. I grew up in a very close family. So in a way, it was hard to look outside. There were so many cousins. So, but now I find a need to do connect and share my work with others because, yeah.
And I would agree with you 100% that it's almost as if a spirit comes down, the Holy Spirit or whomever comes down through me. But once it's done, I'm so excited about it that it's like I want to share it. I want to make people smile. I want, so even when it's not very good or maybe, and then I change it and I send out the next, oh, look, I changed it. And then I changed it again. I'm thinking, oh, come on, give it a rest. But I think the joy of sharing with other people brings me as much joy as every day I walk by my little painting and go, oh, that's so cute. I just love that, So
I agree.
And I put it on my phone as my lock screen. So every day I turn on my phone and there's my cute little pictures. So, but anyway, but I appreciate you sharing with your family because that's what I do too, so.
But I do love what you said, that Dr. Flora, are we okay on time? I don't want to.
You're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say that I learned later in life that whatever we do is not just meant for us. And that was a big, big lesson for me, that it was never about me and it's never about us, but it's to do with all of us together in the world. And that's our purpose. And it was a big lesson. So then you don't think too much about yourself because it's just meant to go out into the world and be shared with others. Just as I'm learning so much from all of you. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
That's well. Thank you so much for sharing today. It was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
And Renee as well. You're an inspiration.
Junko, I will ask you to share your voice with our second author.
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
A comment from you to our second author pertaining to arts.
I love to paint as well. And
you paint as well.
You
see, many artists.
I love when you say like it comes like all together all of a sudden. And so you start to do it like once you have a seed and it comes. I love that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I love you said it's not all about you. It's go out to the world, share with people. I really like it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Clap, virtual clap, guys. We're doing so good. It is 12:49. I'm just gonna try to show you something. Let me see if you can see it. The picture behind me, you saw that art?
Mm-hmm.
You guys can see it? It's a lady carrying a load. You know, that's some kind of art. It's just to give you a minute to reflect how we women, we are strong. How do we bring arts in several shapes, whether it's how we raise our kids, whether it's education or whatever, then And I see Janila showing me a wall also. You see, then I see art all over. It's like I'm entering everybody's house. You see? Look at what we are doing. Then Janila, tell us a little bit about your art and let the artist, Mary and everybody helps you and critique your art. Go ahead, Janila, tell us.
This is actually from Africa. The one that I showed you, it was also like carrying something on the head. That's why I wanted to share.
Beautiful.
And I'm more writing artist. I'm not. I can't paint yet.
Okay. Then you travel and you bring arts just like me. I don't paint, but I collect art. And I see some arts also in the background. I'm inside Renee's house. I'm in Texas. Check this out.
Yes.
The wall.
Yes.
Very much, yeah. That's beautiful, guys. Brian, you are an artist. Can you show us something? If it's okay. Okay.
I don't know what I would show you.
We're very patient. Remember, you are the guy in the group.
Yeah, I didn't think to be on the
No problem. We are not shying. We are connecting.
I have
Show
art
us
all over
some
the
arts
place.
too.
Give you a tour of
For
my
the
house.
record, Mary's showing something. Mary, you first. Is that you, Mary?
No, I painted my, oops, hold on. Sorry.
Okay, no,
I painted my daughter Sunday. I painted a picture of my daughter because I miss my girls. They live out of town. So I thought I'm going to paint my daughter's picture. So I have this on my screensaver. So every time I turn my phone on, I see my daughter's beautiful smile.
Oh,
that's awesome.
So, that's nice.
Yeah.
You see what you're doing? Then everybody's using your expertise, Lencia. You have Janelle travel.
Dr. Flor, may I please share my work of art? It's very small. I don't know if you can see it. Can everyone see it? So this is the piece I was calling Wine and the Branch. It's a very simple piece, but it has a very deep meaning to me that I like to share.
It's beautiful.
And it's not a painting, so I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm not a traditional artist, but I like to draw. And all my drawings are done on the computer, but it's just, and then I print it on glass and on metal. So.
I love the shape. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
When we're gonna have a face-to-face, I can't wait to see, everybody's style.
Yeah, this is the smallest one, but
That's nice.
Sunset, and which is like big pieces, but yeah. Very good. Thank you for allowing me to share it with you.
Okay, then at this time, I will turn it over to our producer, Lale, that will have the closing remarks. But as marketing requires, anybody who wants to have the book or did not have the book today, Cordelia will speak before our producer. And also for contact, we want to stay in touch with you. Please share your email. So Renee will, that is in charge of scheduling, can keep telling you the dates. And please, a big round of applause for both co-authors today. Voila.
Thank you so much.
We can make some noise. We can make some noise virtually. Very good, very good. And we want to thank Lancia. She's the one also doing the design for the invitation for all our presentation.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, we'll tell you about and people interested in getting the books, the protocol, and we'll wrap up with our producer. It was a pleasure serving you today. Then I hope you enjoyed the lunch. Cordelia?
Hello, everyone. So when you registered for this event, in the confirmation, you get the Zoom link, and you also get a link to purchase the book if you don't have the book already. And of course, if you register like the day before, there's a bit of a challenge there because the book is a hard copy. However, you'll have it in time for future events. I believe we do have a PDF, so I could also include a PDF link if for those people who register later. So
Yeah, we have a link to Amazon for the Kindle.
Oh, okay.
If people
Oh,
want to
good.
get it faster, quicker. So if we could include that in the follow-up email
Okay, great.
and people register too, that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for being here with us. We are so excited. The America's Leading Ladies is a much larger group of women. However, you will see a select group of us through the series of the next few weeks that we have together. And as you noticed, we have 2 authors for each of our weeks. And it's going to be every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I know some of you are in Europe. So that's going to be 6 o'clock p.m. in Central Europe time. And we just wanted to thank you. Like I said earlier, this was really about bringing us all together and ways that we can each contribute to each other with our stories and to really get more of what's possible and actually getting the courage. I know most of us at some point in our lives have had some difficulties, and there's some difficulties going on around the world right now. But what message of hope, possibilities, and infinite possibilities can we actually share with the world? So thank you for being here. And beautiful Cordelia is going to also get this video up, I think on YouTube, if I remember correctly, or somewhere there will be a replay, so that you also have the replay if you guys would like to watch this over and over again as well. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week at the same time on the same link.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you,
safe,
Laurie.
everyone. Be
Thank
safe.
Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
Flor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Bisous. Hugs.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Renee.
Bye, everyone.